Chondro Corner where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind. Chondro.
From the shadows we move, striking out bright. In every twist we find the light. Breeding the best, gotta have patience in this game. Chondro Corner where we make our name. Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner. Chondro Corner where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind. Every scale tells a tale, every clutch a dream. Working the grind, we reign supreme. In every corner, the potential's real. Chondro Corner, where we seal the deal. Chondro Corner, 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 Chondro Corner. When we scale tells a tale, every clutch a dream. Working the grind, we reign supreme. In every corner, the potential's real. Chondro Corner, where we seal the deal. Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind. Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind. Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind.
Chondro Corner, 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 Chondro Corner.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We started this one just a little bit later. Some of you may know Lucas, some of you may not. I met Lucas originally when we were doing the Snakes and the Fat Man monthly Zoom calls, which were not snake related, but it was a good time getting to know him. And it's pretty awesome that we're both venturing down this rabbit hole of chondros at this point. Before we bring him on, I just want to get started on thanking a few people. JNS Exotics, James, thank you for coming on. Bosa, the supporter himself, we should just get you a shirt that says Master Supporter on this because I swear you support everybody all the time. Ro, my partner in crime, always. Is it Terta McCunny? Hello. Heartland Reptiles, thank you for coming on. The big boss himself, Mike, from Herp Collectors Network, as always, thank you. And with that, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring on our guest.
What's going on, Jen?
Lucas. How are you?
Good to see you. It's been a while.
To see you. Yes, absolutely. No more Zoom calls.
No, I mean, I was actually going to ask, did those stop? I stopped getting the invites, but...
So, no, he still does them.
Okay.
You just have to be a part of one of the Patreon levels.
Okay.
I just, right now with school, work, life, it just...
Yeah, so you haven't been making them either. Okay, good. I feel less bad.
No, you're not the only, we're both slacking. I
Okay,
mean, at some point we should probably jump on one.
Yeah, it's been a while. I need to check in with Chris.
Yes. So thank you for coming on tonight. I guess where we want to start is what made you venture from retics and your bigger snakes to these crazy animals?
Yeah, I think I have a long roundabout answer and I have a very short to the point answer. But I mean, ideally, I got into the retics and was going to just niche with breeding retics and locality retics. Mm-hmm. Before I fell in love with retics, my favorite snake growing up was always a green tree python. I remember one of the snake magazines, I don't remember which one, but had a beautiful Aru in the front. There was an amazing pet store that I grew up around, and I'd go there and they had a green tree python on display, and it was always a dream species of mine. I loved it. But then came the information when you start to kind of do some research about them being very advanced, them being difficult to keep. And that scared me away. And then I went off to college. I got rid of my snakes that I grew up with. And when I jumped back into snakes, I got the retics, and still I was looking at chondros every single day. I've been a part of the chondro groups longer than I've been a part of the retic groups. I would go on the Morelia Veritas forums to actually like just see what people were doing on there, and I didn't have one. And I finally decided, like with the retics, I grew pretty quickly and then just realized that I don't think that there's a way to ethically breed retics at a large scale because they're larger animals, even the super dwarf stuff. You're still talking about a 10-foot snake. They're larger animals. They're very expensive to feed. And so I converted my garage to keep just solely ambient. And it basically, you walk into my garage, it's Indonesia. It's humid as hell. And it's warm. And so essentially what I thought was like, okay, well, if I don't have to mess with hot spots, I don't have to mess with gradient temperatures, I don't have to do that, let me try to keep a green tree python. And of course, Bill was, my go-to guy. I'd met Bill at one of his parties for the Arlington, at the time, Arlington NARBC, and I saw his collection for the first time and all the chondros in there. And I was just like, you know what, I gotta dive in.
Yeah.
And for anyone listening or in the comments, I see a few of my Patreon members. If they know me well, like when I get into something that I love, I never just like stop at one. So I just got chondro after chondro. And for me, it started off with just I wanted to get my dream species. But I, as a person, when I keep an animal, for me, part of the experience of keeping them is also the breeding aspect. It's not the financial part of the breeding. It's more of the... I feel that if I can keep them healthy, I can get them to breed. Like I understand the animal, right? And so, now I'm 9 chondros deep and not slowing down.
So the one from Bill, that was your first one, my clutch mate, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I have people that comment all the time. They're like, you started off in the chondro world with like a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's kind of the mentality. Like when I was like, okay, I'm going to just do this. And then Bill was like, I have one available. It was kind of like, do I jump in the other way or do I just say,
right,
screw it, more or less.
I think screw it is a great mentality if you're purchasing from a good breeder and it's captive bred.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was well worth it. Like I would do it all over again. If I was to pick out my first chondro, it would be that same exact process all over again.
Exactly. It's at least for me, especially because I was so worried and anxious about getting them for a long time, about their husbandry and their care. For me, it was worth the extra money to go CBB, someone who's reputable, someone that I can call, someone that's going to answer my texts. And Bill has done all of that. So shout out to the mayor of Chondroville. But yeah, and then as I started keeping the chondros, I realized they are 20 times easier to keep than retics. They are literally dummy proof if you just know their parameters.
Yeah. I think so. I was on a TikTok live, and I think that was one of the things people kind of shy away from them for, is because the stigma is they're harder to keep, and maybe the breeding aspect of it. Yeah, I mean, even my little thing we were talking about backstage, I have never dealt with that with a ball python before. Yep. But it's been easy keeping them. Like once it was dialed in, it's not been a challenge at all.
They're a set and forget type of animal as long as you give them fresh water. They're great animals.
And I think it like ignited, it was that fuel to that fire, so to speak, for the passion. So Jason said that retic teeth are just too small and you have a dental fetish.
Here I'm going to be honest. If retic teeth versus chondro teeth, one of my employees got bit by one of my tiny chondros, and he's like, "Dude, I'd rather get bit by one of your 6-foot retics than get bit by this chondro. They got long teeth."
They do. You see them when when you do your nido swabs, and it's like
right. No, they're right there in your face. You're like, oh, and you're a tiny little thing.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and imagine like doing a nido swab on one of the big ones.
Yeah. No thanks.
I actually had help with that, just so
that's
everybody
fair.
in the chat knows too. my cojones are not that big.
Yeah, I got a 2-year-old import Biak that I had to do one on, and that's the biggest one that I've had to do one on.
Yeah.
And it's still only 2 years old, so roughly.
Yeah, no. I needed help.
Yeah. No, I mean, they're and that's the thing. It's like I all of my captive bred animals super easy to handle. But I have 3 imports, and all 3 of them want nothing to do with me. Their care is just as easy, as long as I spray them, and then can clean around them, and they're still pretty manageable. But I will say that I was not expecting the like, again, the stigma associated with them. I wasn't expecting for the captive breds to be so easy to work with, and I love handling them. They're great.
Yeah. Yeah, they I think they almost have to do it on their terms. Like, you can't pull them off the perch and just, you kind of just have to let them do their thing, and then it's
exactly. Yeah, I sometimes will like tickle under them, right? Like I'll sometimes like tickle under, and that'll get them moving and everything. But I definitely don't approach them as a snake that like if I want to go in my garage and handle a snake for fun, it's not going to be a chondro. I like to let them be. I like them to look pretty, right? That's what they're for. What are you talking about?
So your locality, what localities do you have?
So right now, so my whole locality game in the retics, like that's what I'm known for in the retic world. And, I still, even with the chondros, I have a passion for localities, and I'm going to keep the localities the same. Like it's going to be focused around localities. But to be honest, I started off heavier on the designer side first. So right now, as far as localities go, I have 2 Biaks. I have a pair of Arus, and that's it. I mean, Cyclops is next on my list, but the way that I want to approach my locality game with the chondros is I really want to be very selective, like annoyingly selective with the females, and I'm probably going to get imports. There's a stigma around imports, and I think Chuck and we did an episode on import versus captive bred on the Chondro Lounge, and imports, if you know what you're doing, and you get them from a reputable importer, are not difficult animals to establish and get them healthy and good. And so I want to be very, very selective with the females that I bring in. And so I'm just being patient and waiting until I see the ones that I like. And when I like them, I scoop them up. And if I don't, then I won't.
So I just took the dive down with the import. I couldn't leave it on the table. It was just
right. Gotta try it.
It spoke to me.
Right.
But I'm finding that really I had no problems throwing it its first meal. Like,
ate right away for me too.
Yeah, no issues. Even the handling. I mean, it is a little bit spicier, but
yeah. My
it comes
import
with the territory.
Hates me. My import Biak is a demon.
You're just not talking to it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I do all the sweet voices. I do what I can. It's hilarious. When my employees are over, I'll take it out of its quarantine tub, and I have it on the perch. Sometimes getting it out of that, it's striking at you, and then when I have it in my hands, I'm spinning, I'm doing the dance because it's constantly trying to look for me. There's been a couple times where she's chill, she's just like wants to do her thing, but she the only time I've been able to handle her was when I took her out of the bag. She didn't bite once.
She was giving you false sense of security.
Right. And then the next time I opened up the tub, she was in my face. I was like, okay. Right.
So your attempts in your garage, obviously you do ambient, right? Mm-hmm. Do you have any heat running for any of them, or you keep them all on that temp swing that naturally just flows?
Yep. Even the younger ones. So a lot of people told me, like, hey, if you're going to keep ambient, like, and you buy juveniles that are like 6 months old to a year old, you want to keep it on some belly heat or some back heat. I don't. And right now my garage at night is dipping down into the mid to low 70s because it's the winter. We're cooling down here. So yeah, the babies are still eating. They're pooping. Like all the younger chondros, like none of them are skipping a beat in fully ambient. And I talked to Ryan Young a bit, like when it comes to the breeding side of things. When
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Young is the GOAT, in my opinion, when it
Oh,
comes
yeah.
to breeding pythons. And he keeps all of his python species on ambient. But he provides gravid females with hotspots. I'm actually not going to do that. And the reason why is because even during the winter, my daytime highs in my garage still get 84, 85 degrees. Whereas Ryan during the winter, his daytime highs are like 80 degrees. So retics are from Indonesia, same area that chondros are from. All of my retics that I've hatched don't have any heat. They're able to lay healthy clutches. So for my first clutch of chondros, like my first this year, this first breeding attempt, I'm going to try to go just no heat, just like I do for my retics, and we'll see how it goes. And then if it doesn't turn out well, then back to the drawing board, I can install some external heat.
Yeah. So like I run ambient for the most part, but I do have heat there. So if the temps swing too much, then it can kind of regulate it. But I don't know. I think it's trial by error for all of us at this point, right?
Yeah, and I will say I've had my garage dialed in for 2 years prior to me getting any chondros. So I got my garage down packed. I can control it down to a degree or two, and I understand where I need to set the thermostat in order to get my daytime highs and my nighttime lows. So it's been I mean, for me, like switching over to strictly ambient heating, by far the best decision I made in reptile keeping, period.
And you can keep pretty much all your species in that one area, right?
Yeah, I keep I keep bull snakes, I keep retics, I keep carpet pythons, I keep chondros, I have an Amazon tree boa, I have Sri Lankan pythons.
You have a zoo.
I got a lot of things. So what's funny is that prior to 2024, only had retics. Now I have like 7 different species.
And are you planning on breeding all of those species?
Yeah. So let's see. Is there? No, the only snake that I will probably ever buy in the future that I won't ever plan to breed is a green anaconda. I want a male green anaconda just to have a big, cuddly, fluffy, sweet,
big dog,
big ass snake. Yeah,
scaly dog.
Exactly.
Ro wants to know, what kind of thermostat are you using to control your space?
So I have what I'm doing in my garage is I have it set to so I'm using a Daikin mini split heat pump. So I use the AC and I use the heat on it. With mini splits, you can, if you want, just use the internal thermostat on the mini split. But because the thermostat for the mini split is actually inside of the mini split itself, it's not the best accurate reading. So I use a MISA thermostat that connects with the mini split. So, and outside of that, I'm not using the mini split to gauge my temperatures. I use the sensor push system, and I have different sensors over my garage. And so I adjust the thermostat. So like when I am running, when it's summer here and I need my garage to be 82, 83 degrees, I run the AC and I set the AC to 86 degrees, and that drops my garage down to 82 degrees. So according to the sensor push. So it sounds a little complicated, but it's really not. Like once you've got your garage set up, and the mini split set up, it's pretty easy. The most important thing is airflow when you're using strictly ambient. I have a lot of fans of the garage that are circulating the air basically corner to corner.
I mean, so I have the fan set up, and to answer Eden's question, the sensor push. So I do have the sensor push in mind too. I have one in every single one of the enclosures. I actually have them in my racks too. I have one on every single level.
That's a lot of money. Those sensor pushes.
So we're going to venture a little off track, and I'm going to explain why I did this. When I first got into ball pythons, I had a heat strip on one of my racks.
Okay, fair.
Go bad. It glitched out. It wasn't recessed enough, and from the bin sliding over it over and over and over, it actually caused it to short circuit out, and my thermostat, instead of shutting off, it malfunctioned on. I managed to get home in time to not have any of my snakes killed.
Oh, thank goodness.
But like it had actually melted the bins to the PVC rack. So to get the bins out, to get my snakes out, I actually had to put my feet on the rack and sit there and literally use my body weight to jerk the bins out. So from that point on, I said, I don't care how much money it takes. I will have an entire smart room. So all of my outlets are Wi-Fi controlled. I have my sensor pushes with my alarms for my highs and my lows. And I can actually, from anywhere in the world, if I get an alarm, I can go in and kill the power to that specific
Perfect
area until somebody can come in and see what the hell is going on.
Yeah, that's a safe proof.
It costs
setup.
a lot of money to get it like that, but 10 out of 10 recommend anybody to slowly but surely do it, because it's that peace of mind. Like even if I'm in Daytona, I'm not that far, but I'm far enough where if something glitches out,
yeah,
I can at least kill the power and know that my animals are good.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, keeping your animals in an ambient room temp, even like 75 degrees, they're going to be fine. You know, if that rack heats up to 130 degrees, it's only a matter of time until they're dead.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, eventually I'll have it dialed in enough to where I won't have to have a sensor push in damn near every little thing. But while I still rely on some heat to provide to them, you know, it's just one of those things.
No, that's a great idea.
But
and that's kind of one of the I guess the parts about ambient that I like the most. I don't have to worry about individual thermostat failures. I don't have to have a bunch of things plugged into a single strip. It's the only thing that I plug in and have on, and it's on a timer, are just lights.
Yeah. And do you do your lights like a cycle, like a 12-hour cycle, or?
Yeah. So, some of my chondro enclosures, or all of my chondro enclosures, have LED lights that are set up on time schedules, and I adjust them according to like my garage, the main garage light is set on a timer, and it's the timer it's set on is basically it knows the sunrise and sunset of your day. You just put in like the area that you're in, and so the main garage does that, and then the lights also follow in that same pattern.
Wow, and we're talking about my smart system. Look at yours.
Yeah, I just got that this year. It's fancy.
Well, my lights are still the old flick on a switch.
Well, that's the thing. I go out of town a lot, and I have like employees there, and so it just got to the point where during traveling time, like I'd have to message like someone to be like, "Hey, can you?" So sometimes I would forget because I'm out traveling, and the snakes had the lights on in the garage for 36 plus hours, and I'm like, yeah, I think it's time to, and it literally I think costs like $35 to do it.
Oh, that's not bad at all then.
Yeah.
Lineage, since we talked about your locality, what lineage do you already have in your collection, and what lineage do you plan on adding?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I got a lot of Jaeger bloodline in my collection.
Yeah.
So that's anyone who knows Jaeger. He is the sire of the Sickness, which is one of the most infamous chondros that was ever produced. I also have a Sickness line that's crossed to a Brumley Blue line, so I have some blue line stuff in there. And then it's a locality cross, so it's not a designer yet, and it's not a bloodline, but I do have this Tamika Aru cross that is looking crazier than most designers.
I love the Tamika stuff. Oh my God.
Yeah, this snake is incredible.
They have like a designer look to them without being designer. I freaking think they're amazing. Like that's a next pickup for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I've told Dan and a bunch of other people that import. I am looking like I don't care how much it is. The moment that someone says like, "Hey, there's an import, Tamika animal available," it's mine. Like I will, I'm ready for it.
I mean, I don't blame you though, because I mean, it's freaking amazing.
Yeah,
amazing. Like there's not another word to really describe it. And at first, so I saw a couple, Gary Shavino made a couple of yellow Tamika crosses available for like the Black Friday weekend. And all 4 of them were gone like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, Gary doesn't, when he makes a video, his animals are gone in a heartbeat. Shout out to Gary. Gary did me a big favor. I had hit him up and I hit him up about any available animals that he had, and I got 2 animals from him, and he was nice enough to let me know about animals that he had available right before the episode was about to drop. And he's like, hey, like, I normally don't do this, and I can't thank him enough. He gave me the opportunity, and I got 2 animals from him.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that Tamika Aru cross. Then I have a JRW produced by Joseph Westgate that is, you know, Jaeger lineage on one side, and on the other side, I don't know if it's anything that's really well known, but yeah, I plan to, you know, what I really want to do is, my main project is, you know, I want to incorporate the Jaeger stuff, but really what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to gather animals, whether locality or designer, that maintain and hold on to their yellow diamonds. So you take an all green tree python, but it has those yellow diamonds still as an adult with that contrast, and it's a beautiful animal. And then when you start to throw blues and melanism in there, or calico stuff, like it really looks amazing. And so right now, all of the animals that I'm picking out, I'm looking for those big yellow diamonds as neonates.
That specific trait, yeah.
Exactly. And then I have one other just like locality cross project. My import Biak that I have is pretty high white, and I love the high white stuff. And so I'm going to try and do tricolor Aru Biak crosses. So going to take the Aru to the Biak and focus on making some high white, yellow, and green animals.
So there was there's actually a Biak import female on Morph Market right now that's got like almost a snowflake look of the white clusters all down her body. So I've been kind of watching it.
Yeah, that's how mine is aging right now. Every shed she gets more white flowers, and yeah, they look beautiful. And Chuck's over here saying I need maniac blood. I know. Can your female drop another clutch, please?
Just put me on the list too.
Right. That's a good thing about co-hosting with Chuck, is that I we get to talk frequently. So I know that next clutch is in the works.
Chuck's gonna get a whole little wait list right here in the chat.
Right. That's if
plus
Chuck
everybody who's already on the list.
That's if he decides to let go of any red deos. So if he does, I'm jumping on it.
I'll take one for the team, and I'll take a yellow. It's okay.
Yeah.
I'll take what I can get. Throw a girl a bone.
Your yellow Neo right now from Bill is still
stressing
yellow.
Me the hell out. Like
it's
more and more white scales. Like, and I finally was able to get some like clearer shots of some of the white scales on it, and I've noticed like there's a couple of yellow scales that are a different shade of yellow than
that's a good sign
what the rest of her is. Somebody else that has another clutch mate from that had a yellow, and they said that theirs literally just turned, that like all the white turned green, and I was like, no, these white scales have been here for some time. Like it's not white and then green. Like some of these scales have been here since I brought her home. Like
yeah, I think that you are hitting real quick before I even make that Simon Pierre that comment, that's the exact light switch that I had, the TC421. Yeah, it's super affordable, and also has an internal battery, so you don't have to mess with any power outages. But yeah, I think that your animal from Bill, like with again Jaeger bloodline, right? Like it's funny how you go for an animal that, you know, everyone tries to shoot for melanism, and your animal's over here throwing white, like the complete opposite.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, different shades of yellows, like and if you look at all the other animals from that clutch, I think yours is the only one holding out.
True. Yeah. Well, and so I thought it was, and then I got that message about that one, but obviously that one's changed now too. So, you know, here we are, 20 months old and
yellow. That's amazing.
Freaking yellow.
That's awesome.
Like I think I have other babies that are half the age that are probably going to go through their OCC, and this one's still going to be yellow. You know, it's like
or maybe it's 3/4 through the OCC and we don't know.
Yeah, there's no telling at this point. So we'll see. It's exciting. It's cool though, because I see yours yours is gone like.
Yeah,
way
full,
into
full black mode and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and here's mine.
Yeah, but I that's exciting. I'm actually like, out of all the siblings I've been tracking everything, I'm most excited for yours.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't disappoint.
Yeah. If there is any other bloodline that I do plan to bring in, it would be to work on a yellow project. And so I'm trying to find some more people that work with Tiger Stripe. I know Marshall Mendez does, but Marshall Mendez doesn't like to sell snakes.
Yeah.
He likes to keep everything, and that's rightfully so with Tiger Stripe stuff. But yeah, I do really want to work in some Tiger Stripe. But that's down the road. I think as far as designer goes, I'm going to allow my animals to mature, find out what their sex are, and I'm going to just keep my eyes open for those very specific locality types and the phenotype that I want from them.
That makes sense. So on one of MJ's episodes, he actually posted a lineage chart you did from the
Jaeger.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did you use? Like, were you just picking people's brains to track the lineage that far back, or?
So when I send that over, so the work and all the method and madness and the work that went behind that was Glenn. Glenn McClellan, he's the author of the Complete Reticulated Python. He sent that over to me, and I sent it over to MJ. So I can't take credit for that, but I know Glenn pretty well, and he did the same thing for that he did with the Reticulated Python book. You know, he's not an expert in retics, but you can write a phenomenal book on retics if you talk to the experts in retics. And so Glenn just used the lineage tree that Bill had and just kept plugging away and kept just reaching out to people. And over the span of the year and a half that he had that animal for, just started getting more and more information.
That was awesome, because I saw that and I was like, holy cow. Like, I like to go through, and I'll go through the old forums and that type of thing and try to trace back pictures that look like they were taken with a Nextel, the brick phone. But
right. Right. Some of them are like the old school Polaroid cameras. Like some of the animals are, some of the pictures get grainy.
Yes. So I was like, how did he come up with this? This is amazing.
No, Glenn did an amazing job. I can't take credit for that. But what I will say is that anybody can do it if you just put in the time and effort to.
What's some advice you would give to somebody who is just looking into this rabbit hole, besides the fact that it's like a tattoo, you can't just get one?
Right. To just do it. Don't psych yourself out. Don't get too overly worried about it. Just keep it simple, stupid, right? KISS method, and just get your information. In my opinion, find a reputable breeder, get a captive bred animal, and listen to that one person's advice until you understand the husbandry aspect and you've kept your snake healthy. Once your snake has been healthy in your possession, then you can start to then you can gather other people's input and how other people do things. But really, like, just find that one person, find the breeder you want to get an animal from, establish a relationship with them. And yeah, what Chuck said, buy a $500 flare temp gun, which I literally did for Black Friday. I gave in and I bought one.
And it was still $500 on Black Friday.
No. I got it for $279.
Oh, okay.
But it retails for $500. Yeah, I got a big discount on it, so I was like, okay,
so
we're doing it.
This temp gun, like the end all be all? Like, now you've got me captivated here over this temp gun. Oh my gosh!
If you watch some of our episodes of the Chondro Lounge, I make fun of Chuck every episode because of it. It's a temp gun that has an infrared sensor that when you look at the screen, it shows you what you're temping in different heat signatures. It's almost like playing Call of Duty and having like a thermal imaging, scope on your gun, and you can see people like as they walk.
Yeah, but now you can't make fun of them because you have it too.
Well, yeah, I know, but I was like, I really need to see how over the top this is. So one of my favorite stories that I love that Chuck talks about is like he'll take it outside while it's cold out in New Jersey, and he'll piss in the grass, and then he'll like use the temp gun to go find his pee later because you could see the heat in the grass. So it's cool. You can see your snake's body temperatures compared to its surroundings, and if your snake is warmer or cooler than the surrounding, you'll be able to see it. And I mean, what they're used for, you know, they're not designed for snakes. What they're used for is for you to be able to look at your piping and plumbing in the walls and like to be able to see that kind of stuff.
Piece of advice that you wish you had known coming into this.
You know, I think it goes back to like the same piece of advice of like, just do it. Is I wish I would have found the right people to talk to that would have encouraged me like, hey, these snakes are not that difficult. So like my piece of advice that I wish I would have known is like, it's a snake. It's going to be fine as long as you provide it the atmosphere that it needs to be in. And it's not hard to do. A lot of people think they need to be constantly super humid. No, I mean, like I barely spray them anymore because my garage just sits at 65% humidity.
Yeah.
So I don't have a need to really spray them and they have good sheds.
I think that's one of my things with doing this podcast was how do I help break that stigma? Because that stigma is very much out there. It's a very real thing with a lot of people, and a lot of people have a lot of apprehension on getting them because it's, you know, it's bitey, it's hard to keep.
Right. And what I will say, you doing this podcast, me and Chuck kind of doing our podcast on Chondros, MJ doing Up in the Tree Tuesdays, we are finally starting to get the word out there that these snakes are not difficult to keep, and they are a pleasure to keep, actually. And so, like right now, me and Chuck talk about this at least once a week. Not retics. Chondros are like Chuck likes to use the word progressive. They're the most progressive species. Like people want them and are buying them now more than ever compared to other species. And I've already gotten 3 retic people converted over to Chondro. One of my good retic buddies, Paul, I told him, you know, he started getting them, and I told him to make a separate Instagram page and name your Chondro like business Converted Chondros, and he literally did that. Yeah. And so, I mean, a lot of people are finally making the dive, and I think the way that we continue to do that is to have people on to talk about the experience of keeping them, because the reality of it is that if you don't start off with an import that's already dying, you're going to have success keeping them. They're not hard snakes to keep. If you can keep an Indonesian python species, you can keep a green tree python.
Fair enough. What's one of your fears of breeding? Like, are you going to this?
Oh my gosh, I'm going through
optimistic, or are you like stressed the hell out?
No, my biggest fear. So I think I've read retics enough to like. I don't care about like if eggs don't make it, whatever. You know, I'm sure it's different if I have like a designer clutch and they drop eggs and it's incubating and I don't know, babies are $5,500 each. Like I'll probably be freaking out a little bit, but but like the way that I approach breeding and right now, like with my retics, I don't assist feed. I don't force feed. I don't I put the eggs in the incubator and set it, forget it. Like I've desensitized myself to that anxiety. The biggest anxiety provoking thing with Chondros right now, I just did my first introductions a week ago. And I'm watching them constantly because they're like, first they're imports. They like, I called Chuck, I called Alex Warren. I was like, yo, how do I get this male into her enclosure without them both killing me? Like without them biting the shit out of me. And then after that, it was like spraying the female, tapping her, making sure she didn't bite the male out of a food response because she's picking up on her feeding schedule right now. And that with me and both of my employees there are navigating this. It's 3 humans and 2 chondros, right? And we're all on edge and on guard with this introduction. It was the most terrifying introduction ever. And I've put a 5-foot retic in with a 14-foot retic and don't care, right? But these chondros, for some reason, I was very just anxious. But now they're every single morning when the lights turn on, opposite corners, every time that the lights turn off, they're literally locked. So now the next biggest worry is how do I get the male out? Because they both like to sit on the same perch.
You got to put on your leather welding gloves.
I'm going in there with a hazmat suit.
It's not that bad. Seriously, just put on some. So Bill actually told me, he's like, when I sent him the picture of this girl, he was like, you need to go online and you need to get some leather welding gloves.
Okay, fair.
And I was
do-
like, Bill, you're going to have me looking like a freaking idiot. Like, I'm going to be in there with like a full mask, motorcycle helmet on with some
Yeah, seriously.
gloves. And he's like, no, you're going to thank me one day. And then, I mean, now I use them.
Yeah. Yeah, so I got to take him out, but as far as like the breeding process, like outside of doing intros and removing them and things like that, just the fear of getting bit aspect, because I'm a baby. I don't like getting bit by anything. I don't care if it's a ball python. I don't care if it's a Antaresia, right? Like even if it's a baby retic, I don't like getting bit. I don't. I'll say that. Screw you, anyone who's judging me. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing that I have a worry, like, so I'm not worried about egg laying. I'm not worried about, my biggest concern is incubation, right?
Yeah.
I'm still back and forth about the idea of just like maternally incubating, right? Like if she's wrapped on them, like, sure, go for it. I don't have to worry about killing the clutch myself. If she kills them, cool, her fault. If I kill them, my fault, right? So, but no, I mean, Chuck is convincing me little by little to just do artificial incubation, and we're going to come up with a method. And because right now, the way that my retic eggs incubate, after about a month, like the lid is full of condensation. I open up that box, the eggs get soaked with water. Retic eggs, they don't care. Like a healthy retic egg, you can spray with a hose and it's not going to mold or die. It seems like with chondros,
you get a speckle of water and it's a wrap.
if you look at them, they die. Like if you look at a chondro egg, they die. So yeah, so that's my biggest concern is just the incubation process. And then I lied, getting them established. I don't have patience. So they're going to teach me patience.
You don't have patience and you're doing this?
I don't have patience and I'm a therapist. I think that says a lot about me. No, I'm joking.
It's like a walking contradiction.
No, I'm joking. So I have patience with certain things. I guess for me, when it comes to like retic babies, because that's what I hatch right now, I don't have patience with retic babies who aren't eating because they're retics. They're supposed to eat.
Yeah.
And yeah, Simon, that's exactly what I was planning to do, is just put the front of the box, put something under so that it's...
Carly said she uses Legos. She just puts a little Lego on each side and the one side of the box, and it tilts it just enough that the condensation rolls down.
That's genius.
Because we talked about that. She's like, you have kids, you probably have Legos laying around. Little does she know, I actually don't have Legos laying around.
Yeah, I don't either.
You know, the Legos are quick to go. As soon as you step on a couple in the middle of the night, there's no more Legos in the house. So
Exactly.
I'll have to buy some Legos.
So yeah, I mean, that's getting them established, I think, is going to test my patience a little bit, but I think I'm going to be very motivated to try to get them all really established. You know, and I think I'm going to have to break away a little bit from my retic approach, right? With the retics, again, I don't force feed, I don't assist feed. It's a retic. Retics eat, and if that baby is not eating, I don't want to force it to eat, and then, you know, have a retic out there that's genetics are just not strong, and then you know, but I know with chondros, they don't eat mice in the wild when they're babies. And
so what's your plan then?
Everything, right? So like I'll try the chicken gizzards if I need to. I'll try geckos if I need to. You know, I am very much for, you know, if anybody has any little baby crested geckos that they want to send me, or if I need to get a breeding pair myself, so be it.
So I actually have just reached out to local gecko breeders, and I'm like, listen,
right,
if you have some that make it out of the egg and, you know, they're just kind of
precisely, right?
I'll buy them, you know.
But I mean, I've heard enough people already say that, you know, you put a live one in there and the baby's just like, they turn on and they're ready to go. And so, you know, it's funny. I think it's sometimes like we, you know, in the chondro world, everybody likes to follow the old school rules and the way of doing things because they have been notoriously hard to breed. Yeah. There's a reason why there's probably less than, you know, 200 people that have bred them ever.
Well, and there's currently only 63 available on Morph Market, and half of those are imports.
Exactly. They're hard to breed. And so, you know, but I think sometimes like we think we're doing things as basic and simple as possible, but we're really not, because the basic simple thing to do is to put a live gecko in there and let them eat. That's what they're doing in the wild.
And I hadn't thought about that part of it. Maybe just doing like my own crested gecko pair specifically for that purpose. Like I know you can source like cold-blooded cafe. You can get the day-old quail. You can get the anoles.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, you know, what's more cost-effective, honestly.
Right. Exactly. You know, and I
I'm
think
kind of with you. I'm not above not trying. You know, I'll try anything once, and if it does well with it,
yeah, and force feeding and assist feeding is stressful. I don't want to deal
Yeah.
with it. I'll do it if I have to with the chondros, but also I think that like if you're doing designer stuff and you are consistently producing clutches where animals are constantly needing to be assist fed, you're producing animals that maybe their genetic qualities aren't the strongest, right?
Mhm.
And for me, like that's not what I want to do. So every designer thing that I have here is going to go to a locality to outcross to strengthen its genetics. I think it's just I think that's a important part that, you know, because when we look at different lineages, to get a specific phenotypic expression, you have to take them to each other, right?
Yeah.
And you know, if you're not outcrossing and being careful, you're going to have inbreeding depression.
Mm-hmm. That was part of the reason why I didn't mind picking up a couple of the locality things, was because it's like, okay, yes, I want to focus on designer, but I want to be able to kind of bring it out and then bring it back.
Bring it back
you know?
in, exactly. Just throw a little Biox spice in there. It's probably going to make the snake look better.
And well, I have a couple of them, so
Right, exactly.
I think my biggest thing with the breeding part of it is just with the ball python incubation and breeding, it's second nature for me. It's like, oh, cool, got a clutch of eggs, move them into the egg box, throw them in the incubator, and forget about them until I see a head poking out looking at me, you know? So it's having to basically shift everything that I've figured out and like come up with a whole new process and figure out what works for me, where every person you talk to does things a little differently.
Right. Oh my gosh. That
literally they all do it differently.
We've had like 10 guests on our Chondro podcast. Not a single one does it the same. And like for someone new, that is the worst thing ever. Like, which one do you choose? Do you choose number 1 or do you choose number 10?
Yeah. And then if you choose the wrong one, it's like, oh shit.
Right.
Like now I have to go back to the drawing board and try again next year.
Yeah. I mean, for you, I think so. What I'm hearing from you, like the part that you're most anxious about is incubation.
It is. It's well, in the breeding thing, like the whole thing where she decided she was going to eat him.
Right.
Like
not fun.
I don't have that with the balls, you know. It's like I don't have that issue. So for her to like go into hunt mode tonight and think that him moving was
food,
that was a little interesting for me.
Yeah.
That was a twist. I mean, I thankfully was in the room and like I can see it all from where I'm at in the room. So as soon as I saw her movements, I was like, "Oh, we got to get you out of here." But it's a learning experience. Right. I'll write it down in my journal.
Right, exactly. No, they're definitely different.
Note to self, like move him out of there before I bring food into this room at all. You know?
Right. You know, she picked up on that real quick. But like I said, I think that's actually a good sign. The fact that you paired them together and like, you know, now she finally has interest in food again. I don't know. Maybe she just wants more calories.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the part where I'm a little unnerved because I'm so used to one way and it's like the unknown. Yeah. And like you said, you reach out to 10 different people, you're going to get 10 different responses. So it's navigating through all that.
Yeah. And then for me, again, I'm doing this on ambient. So there's even less people to reach out to. And then, you know, I'm taking it a step further and not providing this first year with supplemental heat. So I'm kind of on my own. So we'll see how it goes. I'm taking notes. That's all I can say.
But you've had successful locks. So that's step one, you know?
Yeah. On my literally like 3 hours after my first introduction, they were locked. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, but that's awesome. Then you're doing something right, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I will say, as MJ likes to say a lot, locks don't mean shit. They don't. Not for chondros. With retics, a lock, and it's pretty much a wrap. Like if you get a lock with a retic, you know that you're going to end up with a gravid female. Now, whether the eggs do well or not, it's a different story. But with chondros, you could do pairings for 6 months and have locks every single day, and
not end up with anything.
Yeah, and that does not mean she's going to get gravid. So it's nice that they're playing nice with each other, though.
Yeah. Well, it's nice when they're not trying to eat each other.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. I'm sure once I need to take the male out, they're both going to try to eat me. So,
Yeah.
But
Write that in your journal too, learning experience.
Right. Exactly.
Go in with full medieval armor.
Literally. Hazmat suit. I'm getting one. It's Cyber Monday.
So how many more, well, I won't even say how many more plans for next year. What's your goals with your chondros? Besides possibly successfully incubating a clutch of eggs.
Yeah, that'd be nice. So really my biggest, what's funny is that I was just talking about this with Glenn. Oh, okay. So I'm not any locality import female that is the locality and the phenotype I'm looking for. I'm going to be bringing in as they come. It's not very awesome, or it's not very often that, I see an imported animal and I'm like, yep, that's exactly what I'm looking for. So that's going to happen over a little bit of time, but there's one big purchase that I'm looking to make in 2025. And outside of that, I don't know if I'm going to pick any up, but Gemini, the male from House of Blues, is my favorite chondro of all time, and he has those massive, beautiful, vibrant diamonds that are yellow. So he has that animal being paired to, I forget her name, but she's also a beautiful animal that has yellow diamonds that are a little bit more faded. So that is the literal picture perfect yellow diamond blue lineage that I want to bring in to take to my yellow diamond melanism lineage, right? So that's going to be my big purchase this upcoming year. Outside of that, it's really just going to be the locality animals as they come up.
Fair enough.
What's Chuck talking about? Mess what up the first time?
Yeah, I don't know. Chuck, what'd you mess up?
I don't know. But
I'm sure he'll put it in the comments.
Yeah.
Besides temping his pee in the snow.
that's probably he's probably Chuck's a little like technologically slow, so he's probably like watching like 30 minutes back of what we were talking about. Sorry, Chuck.
Are you sorry though?
No.
Any last bits of advice, words of wisdom, anything you would give anybody?
Yeah, I mean,
besides watch all the podcasts you can and learn everything you can.
Yeah, I mean, there's no shortage of information that you can get for green tree pythons because you're going to learn so much from so many different peoples on different ways to do it. And really just like the only thing I have to say is going back to the message, like if you have been wanting a chondro or a green tree python, you just do it. Like there's nothing really to be that scared about. Oh, freaking Chuck. I
wasn't laughing at you.
No, I know you weren't. It was him. You put the poop emoji earlier up. Jesus. Chuck, man. But yeah, it's just take the dive in, and you're going to be pleasantly surprised at how great they are to keep, how easy they are to keep. And then really when it comes to anything outside of that is just start captive bred, find a mentor, find a couple people that are just in your corner, and really just, enjoy the process. Chondros are phenomenal animals, and just about every bad bit of information about them is just not true.
Yeah. So Block, I can answer this even though I don't own a retic. Just get one and ask for forgiveness later.
It's funny. I was just telling a client about this. I'm seeing a patient right now at work that she actually likes snakes, and she pulled that method with her mom. She's like, no, I just got it, and then you ask for forgiveness. You don't ask for permission.
I mean, the last two that have rolled up in here for chondros, I've been like, oh, hey, by the way, there's a snake getting shipped tomorrow.
Right. But it's
already paid for.
If I did have to give you some advice on how to maybe loosen someone up on the idea of getting a large constrictor is Yeah, I think one of the things that you can do is you can get a manageable size locality retic like a Kalatoa, Madu, Karumpa, but really is try to find someone local that has them, because with retics and I'm saying this on the Chondro podcast, but there is no better handling experience in any species of python outside of retics. Retics are the best social snake, in my opinion. They are phenomenal animals to work with, and if your wife likes snakes, get her to hold a retic, and it's game over. I guarantee.
Get her a teddy bear.
Yeah, yeah. Get her a teddy bear.
I wish we could keep them here. If we could keep them here, I would have one.
Oh, you're in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
can't do that.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. No. I mean, not legally, but no.
Well, and unfortunately, with what I keep, I have to have a license. So, and when I sign for my license, it's actually in the fine print that I give them permission to inspect my facility whenever they deem necessary.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, Texas, they do the same thing here. It's a Walmart license. You go to Walmart, you get it. They can come over and inspect, but they never do.
Don't listen to Chuck's advice on this.
Get her to hold an import PI.
Your wife won't let you get any snakes.
No, I think we'll light her up.
But yeah, no, they can come in whenever. And even so, my BIAC was already from an importer here that I just picked up. But the sarong I got from Alex, when you bring them in, you actually have to notify FWC that you're bringing another animal across state lines, and you have to have an add-on to your license for the importation.
Oh man. Yeah, Florida's they are
and they'll flag it too.
Yeah, they're
like
they're cracking down.
Even I had a Nido test shipped to me from out of state, and because it was shipped in the same way that you would ship like a snake to somebody, they actually had sent me an email and were like, we received notification you're receiving this package. Don't forget to disclose what the animal is. And I was like, it's a Nido swab. Like, let's not get carried away. Like, here's the receipt showing I ordered this Nido swab. Like,
jeez. Yeah, but I mean if they're gonna if they're gonna come up with all these rules and regulations, at least they're staying on top of it. I hate to say this, but Florida is a state that really needed to do this because of there's just about any. Yeah. There are so many invasive species that are just like going rampant.
I mean, there's it's crazy. So even growing up, we're at my parents' house, there's a wild, actively breeding population of tegu,
which is awesome.
Literally in the park across the street. So we would see them like running down the road. You'd find them in the yard. Like,
again, not good for Florida. Really cool if I'm there though, and I get to see a tegu in the wild.
Cool. Wild tegu are very mean.
Oh, I bet.
Very, very mean.
No, I mean, the iguanas when I lived in Miami were mean as hell. But they were all over the place, even back in the early 2000s.
Yeah. So, I mean, I understand all the regulations, but
I do want to give one more piece of advice for anybody getting a chondro. Shout out to Jordan at Heartland Reptiles in the comments. He's a Patreon member. He's also a sponsor of the Chondro Lounge and the Retic Lounge. He is producing they're phenomenal enclosures out there. So get a Heartland enclosure for your chondro. They are literally bulletproof and will last the lifetime, if not 5 lifetimes for those animals. I have 2 of them. They're phenomenal enclosures.
Look at that. Perfect. All right, my friend, I'm going to throw you backstage real quick so we can wrap this up, and then I'll hop back and just wrap it up with you. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
Take care, Jen.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It was fun, to say the least. I appreciate all the support and the entertainment in the comments. With that being said, don't forget to tune in next week with my partner in crime, Ro. Until next time.
Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind. Chondro
From the shadows we move, striking out bright. In every twist we find the light. Breeding the best, gotta have patience in this game. Chondro Corner, where we make our name. Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner. Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind. Every scale tells a tale, every clutch a dream. Working the grind, we reign supreme. In every corner, the potential's real. Chondro Corner, where we seal the deal. Chondro Corner, 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 Chondro Corner. When we scale tells a tale, every clutch a dream. Working the grind, we reign supreme. In every corner, the potential's real. Chondro Corner, where we seal the deal. Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every scale a story, one of a kind. Chondro Corner, where we rise and grow. Twist and turn, let the passion flow. Chondro Corner, watch the future shine. Every